Hi, I'm Michael Fairman, and I have such a very special chat for you guys today. I am with Joshua Morrow, Sharon Case, and Camryn Grimes of The Young and the Restless. And what's so great about this is, as fans found out this week on YNR, they're airing the encore presentation of Cassie's death. And these three brought probably three of the all-time most amazing performances on daytime that we've seen. It's so funny when this went up on social media that YNR was rebroadcasting it, everybody was going, oh my God, I can't, I'm gonna cry so much again. I can't. I mean, and yet they were excited, but yet I can't, because it was the classic YNR episode. So thank you all for like revisiting this with me so much. So I wanted to start with Camryn. What happened when you found out they were killing Cassie off? And how did they tell you?
So they had told my my grandma and my mom, obviously, before they told me. And I remember I was being picked up from school, and it was such a strange experience because I got in the car and my mom and my grandma were like bawling. And I was like, what? Who died? They were like, well, you're gonna. I was like, what? Like, no, they're killing Cassie off. And I remember not getting emotional about it because they were so emotional that I was like, oh, okay. And I think it was just, honestly, it didn't even really process for me until the very last scene. I mean, again, I had been doing this since I was like 6 or 7, so before I could even really remember. So the idea of not being on the show anymore was just something like I couldn't wrap my head around.
Joshua, what do you remember when you found out that they were going to do this story and kill off Cassie? Did you think at the time it would open up the story so much, or were you like, why are you doing it? Like, how did you feel at the time?
I was really upset about it, and mostly selfishly, because I didn't understand why they felt like they needed to do it. It felt unnecessary. I loved what Cammy brought to the show when she came on, and you know, I mean, I is there any way to mute her so she can't hear this? Because I'm very uncomfortable.
I'm never used to this many compliments from him, so this is great.
This
I'm
is
like
a first.
laughing.
Okay, or your Bask.
She, you know, she just was like the light of the set, you know, and you know, we got to watch her grow up, and it was an honor for me to be a part of her life as she was this little girl, and you got to see her, you know, handle very adult material in a very adult world. And she always just seemed to kind of keep that childlike innocence about her while also maintaining an incredible level of professionalism. So, you know, all I saw was what they were taking away from me. And again, that was probably part of my youth and immature, but I just was really upset about it. And I remember going home and talking to Toby about it. And I just like, I don't know how, I mean, I'm getting emotional thinking about it. At that time in my life, I was very fortunate to have never lost anyone who meant anything to me. So it was kind of scary to have to go through that out on that stage, and to watch, you know, Cammy lay in this bed and have to, you know, mimic dying in front. It just was a very difficult thing for me to go through, and it put me through for sure a kind of depression that lasted several months, because I just, again, I had never had to deal with it, and to deal with it on such a, you know, very out, you know, a thing for everyone to witness. It was just hard. And again, I just was mad because I didn't understand it, you know. But looking back, I have to say it's a story we're still telling, and it was some of the, it's for sure the work I'm most proud of, and not just for me, but for everyone on our show from top to bottom.
Absolutely. It was so wonderful. Sharon Case, my God, as the mom going through this and finding out Camryn would be leaving the show, what was your initial thoughts? And did you have any idea, like I said to Joshua, how it would open up the story? Or were you just more like, how do we do this? How are we going to get through this?
I had no idea why they were doing that, why the writers went in that direction. I didn't know future story, how it was going to open anything up. No. So I was shell shocked, like Joshua was, you know, ditto everything he said about Camryn. So how amazing she had been on the show and still is. And it didn't make sense to me either. I was so shell shocked. I just didn't say, I couldn't speak. And I was every day just thinking about dreading each day that got closer and closer to the day we were going to have to film that. It was not something you can even prepare for. I didn't know how any of us were going to get through it. And I was just trying to make each day last longer and longer and longer in my mind until that finally happened. And, you know, I think I also agree, Joshua, that everybody was really amazing in those scenes. It was so profound, you know, the writing, the performances, the cameras. I mean, just everything came together and made this really beautiful scene. And I don't know how Camryn got through it either. I don't know how any of us got through it, but you two were both really amazing. So I was really, really sad for a long time too. And had no idea that it was going to turn into this epic story that went on for decades. So in hindsight, here we are thinking, well, that was great because we had that great show and this terrific story. And now here's Camryn playing Mariah. And, you know, Cassie Seth gave us a story for a long time to come, even before Mariah came onto the show. So, you know, in hindsight, we think about it, well, I do, and go, wow, I don't know if all that had been planned or not. And you know what? And I'd never played a mom on TV before. So it was really a big deal to me and really special to finally play a mom. And it was really special the day I met Camryn for the first time. I was so excited and nervous to meet her. And that's burned into my mind forever. And, you know, everything that we'd been through on the show up until that point, it was another really big event, you know, in my life personally, to lose Camryn as my co-star and to have to, you know, film losing a child. It was big stuff.
I mean, I have to say the episode leading up to it, obviously there's a little bit more, you know, of Cassie pre being in this, you know, dying state. And there's a wonderful, I remember doing a speech in a couple episodes before going into surgery about like being scared and like losing my brother. And like, to me, that was the one where I was like, oh, I felt like I did a good job because I got so scared because I had a little brother and I have little brothers. And but the end, you know, it's Cassie's death episode, but it's Sharon and Josh's episode. I don't do anything except lay there. They're carrying this behemoth of a storyline on their backs, and to even be pretending to be asleep and bear witness to that was really, really special. So, you know, it feels like unfair for me to like sit here sometimes, even though I know that that was the storyline. The performance, it's them, you know.
I wanted to say, I know I probably told each of you during our time we've known each other, when the episode aired that Cassie died, and I was recovering from one of my spinal surgeries, and my late mom and my dad were out in Los Angeles back in 2005, and we were all, I mean, I had just gotten out of the hospital and they were taking care of me, and we all were sitting around the TV. My dad, who doesn't watch the show, didn't know the show. My mom, who watched the show religiously every single day, and me. And I remember my dad just bawling his eyes out, watching Joshua and Sharon in the scene because of losing a child. And my late mom, who loved all of you so much and was crying her heart, you know, because your performances were so transcendent in those scenes and the way it was done. When you think about the music, the slow motion, the way they told the story in whole, really brought I mean, that's why I'm telling you, it's, to me, one of the all-time classics TV episodes, really. I'm not saying just daytime, it was that powerful. And when you have a man like my dad, who never watched, like that, it really affects people, is what I'm trying to say. So what did you think, Joshua, when you saw the whole piece in its entirety?
I was like incredibly proud of it. You know, it's very obvious sensitive material to say and try and do. And I just remember at that time I was basically going out every weekend and doing autograph signings. And what you said about your dad really rings true. There'd be, you know, the most, you know, strongest looking dudes you've ever seen in your life who would come up to me and just give me a hug. And I'm like, you know, that it was pretend, like, you know, Cammy's
I'm
great.
still alive.
Yeah, Cammy's great. And but they were just really tore up about it. And like the fan mail from like prisoners writing in about just how impacting the story was. It was just, you know, at the time I didn't see what we were, you know, the depth of what we were trying to do. But like I said, you feel it later on, you see how it touched different people. It is without a doubt the work I'm the most proud of and also the most sad about. I mean, I remember when we were shooting it, you couldn't hear a pin drop on a very noisy soundstage. On the fives, nobody was scurrying off to get coffee or do whatever. Everyone was just still. And Cammy likes to say she was doing nothing, but I always said one of the best performances she ever gave was laying there and trying not to cry.
Oh, it was horrible.
She was moved by what was happening, yet she's still just laying there. So there would be times when a tear would trickle down her right eye, and that was the one near me, and I would just brush it off with my thumb. And it was just really hard. And, you know,
it was a very strange experience because, like I said, it didn't really hit me until the last few scenes. And everyone was on the set, like Josh was saying, like everyone from hair and makeup, they were watching. And it was really hard leading up to that because people were treating me like I was dying. Like I was like, not just like on, like when I had the makeup, like people were like, how are you doing? Like, and honestly, like it was so overwhelming as one, like an angsty, emotional teenager, like going through puberty, that I just shoved it all down. I was like, I'm good, I'm great. And I couldn't wrap my head around this life change that I was about to go through. And then I think in the very last couple scenes with Josh and Sharon, when they're over me, it all just sort of hit me. And it was like, I'll get emotional talking about it, but everybody was saying goodbye to me. And I was like, I'm not going anywhere, but oh wait, I am. Like, it was just the strangest experience. You just really, like, you're like, am I dying? I'm not sure anymore. And the worst part is at the end, and Josh is totally right. I was trying to manipulate tears so that they wouldn't fall down the front of my face, but off to the side. So I would like do this thing where I try to like push them off. And the last scene with when Josh and Sharon over me, hugging me, I was like, like laying down, trying not to move my stomach, but I was sobbing. I was like sobbing.
Sharon, what do you remember when you saw the whole totality of this episode, with the music, with the look, with the performances, when you first saw it? When did you see it when it aired originally or not? Do you remember?
I saw it when it aired, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. When you're there shooting it, you can't understand the point of view of what this is going to look like, so you just do your best and do what the director tells you. You play the scene. You can't sometimes imagine how this is going to play out once it's edited. And I thought the editing was amazing. The lighting, everything was so beautifully done. I loved the slow-mo. I loved when Joshua was singing. I loved how that was framed. It just captured everything so beautifully. And, I think that this is right. If I remember, this is going way back years, but I think Melody told me that she either assisted or had a lot to say about the editing. She got involved. She was so moved by the storyline. Of course, all of us were. And she was, partly involved in the edit. She had some ideas about it and the song. And I think they went with a lot of, if not all of what she said. I believe them. write about that. And I was so impressed with how the editing really, along with everything else, moved you and just made you so connected in a scene and made it look real. I mean, I can't watch it to this day, not even a tiny few seconds of it if someone puts it on Twitter without getting emotional. And it's, 20 years later. That's
what I'm saying. Immediately you get emotional. Immediately you start to.
My grandmother watches it, will call me sobbing sometimes. She follows me on Twitter. She said, I've told her absolutely. I'm like, there's no way that you can watch on Wednesday because I'm so tired of this. Somebody will post a video on Twitter and I will get a call being like, hey, what's up? She's like, and I'm like, what? Oh my God, what's going on? And she's like, somebody just posted your death scene. I'm like, I'm here. I'm your granddaughter. Like, you know that I'm not. Like, why does it make you emotional? And she's like, I don't know. It's just so sad.
It is so sad. Joshua, what do you remember about, and Sharon brings up such a great point, I can't tell you when you sang the lullaby, you start to sing to Cassie. Do you guys do that in one take, or how did you?
Like, I think we did.
I think we did too. They told me I was going to have to sing, and I was like, I'm not a great singer.
Oh, go on.
Especially try and sing while you're crying.
Yeah, that is hard.
Just like it was hard, but it turned out like so beautiful. And like Sharon said, the way they edited it and the way they went silent and just saw it was just, again, while Sharon said, while we're shooting it, we don't know what they're going to do with it, what the finished product is. And
yeah,
it just was it was a beautiful.
I didn't know there was going to be the montage at the end. I think that's what, messes my grandma so much more than anything is like the montage right before the flatlining. And she's like, that's what. So I remember watching it for the first time and being like, oh yeah, I did spend a long time on that show. Thanks for reminding me, guys.
Well, she was a beloved little girl. I mean, that was the thing about killing Cassie was she was the beloved little girl and she meant everything to Nick and Sharon. And that's what I think when we were talking about fathers and prisoners. And I think it's so relatable to people. Like, can you imagine if you're a parent losing this little child so early? And Joshua, you're a great dad to your kids. And I know what a great father you are. So I can imagine how, you can tap right into that. And even though this was fictitious circumstances.
Tough material. Not a story I would like to tell again. It was hard to get through. And I definitely, like I said, was depressed for a while after it. And then, that all kind of went away when we got to get Cammy back. And it's been great. I love her to pieces, and she can't hear this, right? We're muted still on her.
I muted her now. Yeah. Okay.
And it's life seems normal again because we got our little freckle-faced freak back.
Cassie, honey, you have got to fight, okay? Don't give up, sweetie, please.
Don't leave. Sweetheart, we're not going anywhere, okay? I'll always be here with you.
And you'll always be with us. Honey, listen. The doctors have done everything they can. And now it's up to you. You have to hold on, please.
I don't think I can.
Do Sharon and Joshua remember after filming the big scenes in her death, do you guys remember, did you guys hold each other at the end? Did you both walk off set separately? Do you remember the moment after they said cut and it's over and you filmed the scenes and you got through the death scenes? What do you guys remember?
Well, I think I vaguely remember, though. I mean, we're kind of numb after that, and always after we finish shooting a scene, we wait to see if the director wants to do it again, or we get the all clear. And when we got that, everybody had gathered on stage, like Joshua had said, and people usually do that whenever it's an actor's last day or last scene. It tends to happen that people from every department gather on stage. Although I don't know that that had always been what we had done before. If not, it certainly started there. Because Joshua and I noticed when filming that scene, it was unusual that there was a crowd of people on the stage watching us. It's usually a skeleton crew on the stage so that it would be quiet. And so, you know, once we got the all clear that the scene was completed and they were happy, people were saying goodbye to Camryn. There was, you know, people gathered. They said how beautiful the scene was. They were saying goodbye to her. There were a lot of hugs. Yeah.
Yeah. Joshua, did you remember what?
Yeah, I remember, yeah, it was a very brief where we were just kind of waiting to make sure that we could move on. And then, like I said, it wasn't a big, like, it was silence. I mean, everyone was just kind of, and then everyone would kind of come over and make sure everyone, you know, it was weird. I think people weren't exactly sure how they were supposed to react. It was just such a sad thing. And I don't remember after the scene hugging Sharon, but I remember looking at her, and it was like this silent acknowledgement that I'm glad that we had each other in this. It was in that moment that we were like, you know, I got you, and there's nobody I would have rather done it with. So it was. Oh
my gosh, that's so sweet you say. And ditto, I feel the same way.
I was going to ask you, Sharon, how do you feel? What did you think of Joshua's? Really quickly, what did you think of Joshua's performance in this? When you were like, were you like?
Was at that point, it was the best work that I'd ever seen him do. I think that, you know, Camryn said the scene was really our scene. I would say that it was Joshua's scene. He, you know, in any scene you do, whether it's, you know, big or small, somebody always kind of ends up driving the scene, whether that's obvious in the script or it's not, and one actor just takes the lead. And Joshua did that in that scene, in my opinion. And I mean, since then, Joshua's done a lot of amazing work, but that is something that I'd never seen him do before. It was the most beautiful real acting I ever seen. I mean, it just, for all of us, it came out quite real and quite natural, as difficult as it was. And yeah, Joshua that was his scene. It was his show. I mean, we were there, but Joshua.
Well, Joshua got handed the ball. Do you know what I'm saying? Like it was a moment in Joshua as his time as Nick where you got to do something a little different. You know, it was you got to see more emotional side, I believe, of Nick than maybe we had seen before.
Yeah.
Well, oh wait, go ahead. Sorry,
Joshua.
No, by all means, please interrupt me. No,
I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Go for it.
One of you, please go.
Well, I was gonna say I think the interesting dichotomy between my first time on the show and now this new period of time that I've been on the show is I've heard from people that the Cassie storyline, what was so unique about it and interesting was her and Nick's relationship as adopted father and daughter. And I've had a lot of people come up to me and say, like, to show a love and a relationship like that, you hadn't really seen that on soaps, and that relationship with them was so special. But then you go to Mariah and Sharon, and that bond is so it's almost like it's sort of transferred over in the unique relationship now between Mariah and Sharon having to take on Mariah in Mariah's like older, this sort of like adopt Mariah, even though Mariah's already adult. So I've always found that interesting, the balance of those two relationships. But I think that's why Josh's performance is the one, you know, that was interesting for people, you know, as an adoptive father of a girl, and you know, and that storyline was really unique and lovely to see from the beginning.
Joshua, what would you say? We were talking about it. So Sharon feels it was your scene. What did you think of working with Sharon in that scene then? She says it was really you that drove it.
I may have had more things to do, but the scene, it is a 50-50, you know, relationship there. You know, we're staring at this little girl in bed, but, you know, whenever we needed to, all Sharon and I had to do was just lock eyes with each other, which was happening every 4 seconds. So, you know, like I said, I may have had to sing or maybe had more lines, but that scene isn't anything without Sharon, who is 100% an equal partner in that, like without question.
Thank you. But I do, we've had moments like that before. This was certainly one of them where you and I are in a situation, in a scene that we can't fathom ever having to go through in real life. So how are we going to get through the scene? And all we have is each other. And we have been through so much of that together. And we just lock eyes, sort of like, you're my partner, and we've done this, and we know how to do this. I got you, you got me, and on the other side of the coin, we're looking at each other like, help me.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and it just, that's how we've always been. That's the relationship we've had, and that shows on screen. It makes us good acting partners and friends. And yeah, I don't know what I would have done without Joshua and all these years, because we've done a lot. You know, Cassie's death was certainly the biggest and most emotional story ever, but we've been through a lot.
Yeah, you look at the ups and downs. I've very lovingly referred to Sharon as my old favorite hoodie in many interviews, because it's like, if you think about it, you just throw on your favorite sweatshirt and you're like, oh, okay, good. Like, maybe I'm tired or I'm not feeling good, but the arc that Sharon and Nick have gone through, it's like you have to rely on your partner so much. And, you know, Sharon's been an incredible collaborator over this 26-year career. And she is, you know, my old favorite hoodie.
Yeah, that's a great way to describe it. It's like your favorite pair of sweatpants and flip-flops. You know you can just put those on every day and you're good.
Every time I put that thing on, I know it works.
There you go. Camryn, wasn't there a moment in the death scene or before that where Cassie says you'll have another child? She tells somebody to come over.
Oh yeah, that last moment. Well, because it was supposed to. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a long time, because chances are, if I'm watching it with my grandmother, and I refuse, and my grandfather, and I just refuse to do that, because it's just so ridiculous that they're just bawling their faces off. And I'm sitting right there like, did you like Cassie or me more? Because it seems like you might have liked Cassie more.
I think watching that episode is going to be a cathartic moment. We're all going through so much with I just think everyone's going to watch it, and there's going to, I'm going to say it's going to be a 10 hanky thing, and everyone's going to cry all over again.
Well, you said it earlier. I was like so excited because, you know, people have been asking for it, and I was like, I don't know if we're gonna do that. It's very sad. And now it's here, and I posted about it on social media and Twitter and Instagram, and people are like, oh no, I'm not, like, I don't know if anybody's actually gonna tune in. This might have been a very bad idea. I initially thought it would be great. I was like, oh, show Cassie's death. Turns out nobody wants to watch it. My grandparents might be the only ones, guys.
Are you gonna watch or no?
I'm gonna be live tweeting.
Oh, you're live tweeting. Are you, Joshua and Sharon, are you gonna watch?
I don't enjoy watching it. It just makes me cry. And you know, there's times when I feel like I want to cry, and during 2020, I'm done crying. I don't, you know, Kobe Bryant died, and this freaking virus, and, you know, this year just sucked, and I don't want to cry. So I'm gonna choose not to cry, but maybe while Camryn is live tweeting, I'm just gonna harass and text her a bunch of ways that I want to end her life. That would
be great. That would probably keep me from crying. I'm nervous for people's reactions. Strange, I'm live tweeting if people are gonna be like, why did you do this? I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't pick the programming schedule. I don't know.
That's too phones.
I don't know.
Are you tweeting now? Are you messaging her now, Joshua?
No,
Okay. Sharon, you're not going to watch? You're going to watch?
You know what? I'm going to try. But I don't know that I'll be successful because, like I said, anytime I see just a few seconds of it on Twitter, I get so emotional. I have to turn it off. But so I'll see how far I get with it. I want to be present, and I want to be present on Twitter for comments and read them, and and be a part of this group. This is we're all in this together. So I'm going to try to watch it, and I know I'll get some of it.
Camryn, the greatest news, obviously, for everybody several years back was that you were coming back to the show and you were going to be Mariah, and you got to work with Sharon and Joshua again.
Mm-hmm.
And you remember about finding out I'm coming back, and it kind of puts me back with them, and my death with Cassie wasn't the end. And
I just remember, like, even before I got the call, thinking that it was never going to be possible. I mean, I know the nature of soaps, but the way in which that I died, and the special nature of that character to the fans. My first response when my agent called me and was like, "Oh, we want you. Y&R wants you back for like 10 episodes." I was like, "Do they remember I died? Like, I for sure flatlined, like, on what?" And it was just this whole process of coming back. I had, there was so much I went through as a teenager, leaving the show and going out into this world in this very kind of brand new way that I'd never been before. I learned so much, and it was so important for me as a person and as an actor. And then it was like this full circle experience coming back with everything that I'd learned and all the ways that I grew, and coming back and going, okay, I'm going to experience this as an adult, and I'm going to get to play again. And I'm going to get to, I have to reestablish my relationships with people that remember me a certain, like, is that going to be weird? Is it going to be? So it was a lot of feelings of like, am I going to be disappointed? Is it going to be just as good as it was before? Is it going to be better? And it's been a crazy process. I'd have to say I am so grateful to be back, and especially in this new character, and coming back as an adult has been the most wonderful experience. And I mean, you want to talk about having the best teachers in the world, like, it's those two. Like, I wouldn't be the actor that I am today without learning and watching and observing and studying from them my whole life. And they talk about that connection. There's nobody in the world that can make me cry. That, that connection they were talking about, where you just lock eyes with somebody, and it's, if Josh or Sharon is crying in a scene, even when I am not supposed to cry, it's over. I will for sure
he cries.
Start crying. It's just it's when you have built that connection, and so to be able to tap into that again as a new character, and give that to the audience, that history, it's been perfect.
Well, I want to ask you guys as we wrap, Y&R's back in production. The fans are so thrilled. How are you guys doing? Are you thrilled about being back, getting to see each other again? Tell me, Joshua.
I'm so happy. Yeah. No, I'll speak before Joshua then. Sorry.
Go first.
I'm so thrilled to be back. I was happy that when we started back in production, I had scenes right away, because I was really dying to get back to normal, and to see everyone. And, I remember just my first day there, everything about being there meant something to me. The first thing I thought when I walked in the building was, I miss the smell of this place. I never thought I'd be saying that, but I just missed everything. And, we've had a fairly easy schedule. Well, at least I have out of the gate, and that's been nice. It's just been nice to have something normal in our lives.
Yeah.
Joshua, how's it been coming back? You're there today, obviously.
Yeah, it's to get some sense of normalcy, I think is very healthy, based on what we've been going through. And you know, you realize how much you miss all these people and how much they mean to you. You know, I feel like at times you could take it for granted, considering we've been doing this, I've 26 years like Sharon, and it's, you know, you realize how special it really is. It's been the gift of a lifetime to be able to get to be on this show, and you know, to go without it, it was hard at times. There were some things I liked about it. I had never had a long break in a quarter of a century, and to get one, it was strangely healthy, but it was such a scary time. You didn't really you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so it was good, man. It feels good to be back. I care about all these people a lot, you know, not just, you know, the pretty people I'm staring at, but like the crew. I mean, this is their livelihood. It's how they provide for their families, and to be able to get back to do this job, it's incredibly important to not just the fans, but also to us.
Did you guys feel it was hard to get back in memorizing stuff, or was it really easy, like back on a bicycle after not doing?
So hard. There's a very clear rhythm to this show, and I kind of always pride myself on being fairly efficient at going out there. And the first few days, man, I was a zoo. Like, I was just like, man, there's a rhythm to it that I had just not tapped back into, and I'm still not quite there, I don't think. So it'll happen, you know. It's, you know, we work a lot, so you better find that rhythm, or everyone's gonna be staring at you like, hey, we're moving real slow today.
Camryn,
Yeah, and
it's be back. Camryn?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, it's, you don't realize how important and pivotal it is to your identity. And then you have, you know, 4 months off, and maybe in a good way, you kind of unmarry that from your identity. So you have a better appreciation of the things that you love about it. You know, it doesn't like the desire to play and create is much more pure and organic, I think, after that period of time off. And honestly, it's just the mechanical things that are new for us. But, you know, we work pretty efficiently and professionally 99% of the time. Not, you know, I'm not including Josh in that whatsoever. But you know, so that's been an adjustment. But I think if anyone were primed to make these adjustments and take them in stride and put something awesome out there for the fans and for ourselves, I think, you know, I think it's us.
All right.
Can I just say,
yes.
To win this was 100% the best story we've ever told. But I think the show missed a real opportunity with the second best story. When Mariah came to town and she wanted to take a ride on the old Nick.
Okay, bye guys. It was a great Zoom meeting.
That would have been amazing.
But you didn't like that, I thought, Joshua. You're like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Well, between you and me, I didn't like
No. He pretends like he was all for it, but I know the facts, and the facts were that he was horrified, as was I, and the story was not allowed to go forward because of Josh. So I'm spilling the tea. That's the real thing. He can pretend.
The best thing.
But I know the truth.
The best thing I ever said to Cammy, where I literally thought she was going to throw up on stage. I said to her, no, Nick and Mariah, they're going to have a baby girl, and they're going to name her Cassie.
No, make it stop.
I remember the last part of this story where Mariah's like dreaming, has this dream sequence. Initially, it was going to be they were really going to kiss, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
And I remember going to Josh tentatively.
Do that.
I remember, but Josh was totally messing with me the entire time. I was still new on this show, so I was still like refinding my footing. And I remember being like, "Hey, did you hear that they're gonna kiss for real?" And he was like, yeah, it's a great idea. I'm so excited. I can't wait. And I was like, oh.
Creeper.
And I just walked away going, oh God, oh God. Can I do it now? But then the dream sequence, it's Mariah's dream, where they even got close. It was just implied. I remember like being there and being like, okay, I'm gonna do this, it's gonna be fine. But just Josh like leaning in and me being like,
thank God Joshua has such a great sense of humor, because I'm standing there reading this and thinking, he can't put these two people through this.
no!
You can't make these two people do really? But it worked out. And of course, Josh's sense of humor makes everything work out.
It's true.
Well, guys, this is so much fun. They're making me, we got to wrap. But I wanted to thank you. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Camryn. Everybody watch this week, Cassie's Death. Revisit it. Cry with us if you choose. But it's such an amazing classic episode. And we're so glad that you're back. And we can't wait for all new episodes of The Young and the Restless on CBS. So thank you all. And I will hopefully see you in person. Maybe by 2021, we'll see what happens.
We'll see.
All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you so much. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, guys.